your story is a kind of a really classic case of like what happens if you take a chance on yourself and you bet on yourself in like the long term. One thing I was curious about Levad. Tell me a little bit about Levad, conception, everything. Because I know, I'm pretty sure some people are going to be from Levad who are currently on Temper Tantrum are going to be curious about this.
Well, I will just admit
you're
that
all little bitches. That's what y'all are. Just kidding. Love you guys. Because you're currently on Temper Tantrum too.
No, I will say this. Oh my god, stupid. No, Cosmic has been a huge blessing in my life, and they were the very first dance crew that was exposed to me in college, and I loved every moment of it, being their president and being one of the co-founders. But there was a moment in my life also when I not only was I training with Cosmic, but I started getting more involved in the industry, and that was when I started becoming a Debbie Reynolds intern at that time. And I started questioning whys. Like, why do we need to do this? Why do we need to do that? Why do we need to do this? And nothing was wrong with any of the answers that they gave me. It was for the good of the team. And I give mad respect to that. But that also showed me that like, I should start going on my own to experience other things. And there was nothing wrong with that. If any of you have had hostile feelings of that, I apologize. But in order to grow, you need to leave the nest.
That's true.
And I'm a strong believer of that. I'm not that type of, I'm also with that with my students. I'm kind of like, if you took everything from me, then there's no longer anything that I can teach you. It's time for you to grow and find something else. And I love that because I'm just always forever thankful that I was a part of my students' journey. That's what matters to me even more. And so after that, after Cosmic, I waited a good year or two to figure out like what exactly is my niche and my style. And as soon as 2016 hit, specifically January of 2016, I just posted a friendly post about like, whoever's interested of doing an all-femme squad, hit me up. And our first rehearsal was this day. And 25 to 35 people showed up.
That's a pretty good turnout.
And I was like, oh shit. I did not expect that. And
were you overwhelmed?
I was excited because this was the first time I was creating and conducting a squad of my own. Now, the thing that really got me like, I had to take out was I could not perform in it. That was the biggest sacrifice I had to do.
Did it like, oh, that sucks? I was like, oh, I don't have to perform.
Well, so remember that 2 year span that I was before Levad, after I quit Cosmic, that was my time to be like, let me get used to the fact of not being in my pieces. So I created an all guys piece and an all girls piece, but I wasn't in it. Oh. And that trained me to be like, okay, I don't have to be in my pieces. So I decided to create a bigger squad, and Levad came to play. And thank you to Cameron Shim, Tim, and Jonathan Kim for helping me find that name. And Levad is a French name that means something about burlesque in theater. And I was like, I like that name. Okay, let's keep it. And I was just like, Levad. And I was like, and it ended up being a really good squad for years, for a good two years. It was one of the fiercest squads I've ever got myself involved in. And it taught me how to be a leader. It taught me how to be this choreographer. It taught me how to be my own leader. But it also taught me like, I'm overwhelmed. It taught me to be like, it was just me. It taught me like, holy shit, I am all alone. And at the same time, it taught me like, you probably are a control freak, Liz, and you shouldn't be here. And and I'm like, oh, how am I doing this by myself? And I already knew that I was such a good creative. And keeping a squad together and bringing people together, because that was my biggest goal. I love bringing people together, but bringing in that income, marketing, the other logistics that I'm like, shit, I had no idea in. That's why I would have to say Temper Tantrum is a huge success. Because
it's only not even our first year. Our first official year would happen on 20 days from now.
No, and it's true. Like Temper Tantrum, like I'm thankful to be one of their artistic directors because like, and look, they got paid. I'm just like, oh, the dream. And I'm thankful I'm a part of that dream because I personally didn't pay them, but I was involved in a squad that got paid. You know, I'm thankful for that. And it's because of Emery.
In the next rehearsal, you guys will give in. You guys will pass out the checks.
Oh, I hope so. And so, but Lavad was kind of like my breakaway from being in a squad, and I wanted to be that choreographer. And it's because of Lavad I built a name for myself.
Yeah, you did. You really fucking did.
And I'm thankful. And you know, like I've accepted that, like, hey, not everyone probably agreed with my direction skills, and I will learn from that. Of
Fuck
course.
you guys. I'm just kidding.
But it's true though. Like not everyone's gonna be satisfied by the way I direct.
That's true. You can't win them all.
I can't, you know, and it's okay. And I learned from that, and I apologize if I did hurt anybody, but in reality, I was not a competitive team.
That was such a the choreography you put was such a far cry from competitive choreography too.
Far cry?
Far cry meaning super different.
Oh. I was like, what do you mean by far cry?
They were far but crying.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. But it's like, it's not like the typical stuff you would see from the competitive crews of like FanBiz or GRV or Choreo Cookies or anything like that.
It's not the same.
It's super different.
Super different. And they also felt good doing the choreography. Yes, they were tired and exhausted, but it was very memorable in my opinion. And I loved the last 2 years, and I loved where I left it. I left it at, I believe our last performance was at City Walk.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, damn, this is one hell of a way to go to
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because of that launch of our last show, I booked the job of being City Walk's exhibition dance director. And I'm very thankful for that.
What do you call it? So how were you approached? Like right after you finished, like walking off stage, the guy just hit you up? Like, hey, dance person, he hired right now.
Well, thank you to Stuart. He said we are going to talk again, and he kept in touch. He kept in touch with me, and he ended up being a really good friend of mine. And he's super amazing, so inspirational, human, and yeah, I'm thankful that I was able to. And I'm not gonna lie, I also have to give mad props to Walter Moran because Walter, he introduced me, or he gave me the name of Stuart.
Oh, yeah. I mean that your story is a kind of a really classic case of like what happens if you take a chance on yourself and you bet on yourself in like the long term. I will always give credit to where everything started. Because the way you're running rehearsals, I would not have known it was your first time like running a whole crew like that. Because I was like, I took bits of like how you organize rehearsals and implemented it for myself. Well, I will say this. I learned from Cosmic, but I wasn't the greatest at it. And then I was like, let me refine this. Yeah, I mean, there was a moment, like I can say the same when I was running FanBiz. So there was elements I knew I needed to work on running FanBiz. And I knew, I felt like I was refining that. There's an agenda. Yeah, especially with early days of Temper Tantrum when it was just a project. Because the only reason Temper Tantrum exists is because of her. You're welcome. So she's like, in a sense, like the godmother, like Temper Tantrum godmother. Fairies.